makers of Camel cigarettes bring the world's latest news events right into your own living room. Sit back, light up a Camel, and be an eyewitness to the happenings that made history in the last 24 hours. The Camel News Caravan presents Today's News Today. Produced for Camel Cigarettes by NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, a good evening to you. Carl Austin Hall and Bonnie Heady, who kidnapped and murdered 6-year-old Bobby Greenlease, stand trial for their crime in less than 2 weeks. Here is the story from the scene, from Randall Jesse at WDAF-TV in Kansas City.
This is Kansas City's Jackson County Courthouse. Shortly before noon today, the confessed kidnappers of Bobby Greenlease changed from their prison uniforms to civilian clothes and waited for the U.S. Marshal to come for them in the 11th floor jail. They didn't have long to wait. Marshal Bill Tapman, accompanied by his deputies, soon arrived, and Mrs. Heady was the first to emerge. She was followed closely by Carl Hall. As the gates clanged behind them, newsmen waited in the basement of the building. Mrs. Heady, still accompanied by Tapman, climbed into the marshal's car. Her partner in crime, Carl Hall, went in a deputy's car. The big door to the jail swung open, and they were on their way to be arraigned before Judge Albert Reeves, the man who presided in the trial of Judith Copeland in the first of the spy trials a few years ago. Only 5 short blocks away was the federal courts building. It was here that last week a grand jury returned a true bill charging Hall and Heady with kidnapping under the Lindbergh law. The scene was calm. A few people waited outside the courtroom while the arraignment was taking place. But largely, the people seemed to be confident that the law would take its course, that justice would be handed down behind the courtroom doors. Afterward, the Camel Caravan had the following exclusive interview in Judge Reeves' chambers.
Albert Reeves in the federal court in Kansas City, Missouri, has just arraigned Bonnie Heady and Carl Austin Hall. Judge Reeves, would you tell us what transpired in your court this afternoon?
Yes, the 2 defendants entered pleas of guilty to the charge upon arraignment. And after they're arraigned, the question then arose in the view of the statement of the district attorney that the kidnapped victim was not returned unharmed, and that it was his opinion that a jury ought to be called to determine whether the death penalty should be recommended. And for that purpose, I have set the case for a trial on the 16th of November and have called a venire of 125 citizens whose sole function will be to make a recommendation to the court as to whether the death penalty should be imposed or not. That such recommendation will be made after the testimony has been presented to the jury, so that they would be informed as to what recommendation they should or should not make.
Thank you very much, Judge Reeves.
Now back to John Cameron Swayze in New York.